Good afternoon, once again. My name is Madina, the artist, and I'd like to thank y'all for joining us once again. This is Crystals and the Cosmos, as I think this exhibition. It's an exhibit of my work that is inspired by the Most High, inspired by Mother Nature, inspired by my ancestors and my parents and my elders, as well as inspired by the crystals and the information that I receive from the crystals when we communicate in the ways that we do. Also, I haven't done this in a while, so excuse me because I ain't did no public speaking in a bit, but I like to ask my elders for permission to speak in what I believe is African tradition, so whoever would like to give me permission to say a few words, I'm open for that. Brother Patrick, is he the eldest in the room?
Yes.
Go ahead, you're welcome.
Thank you, I appreciate it. Brother Patrick from Africa International House. Did I say it right, or was it? Okay. Also, for any of us who may not know, African International House is the founder and sponsor of the African Festival of the Arts for many decades now. If it's over 30 years, I believe, that they have been purveyors of African American, global black culture here in Chicago, one of the largest festivals of this type in the country, if not the largest. And we appreciate that here in Chicago, being a product of the culture, as well as, so once again, thank y'all for coming out and being a part of this, not just being a part of what I've been invited to do, which is present and share my work and my creativity, but being a part of what Africa International House does here and promoting creativity and culture. So it's a great honor and a privilege, especially to Miss Miss Linda and Sabrina, who allowed me this opportunity as well. So Crystals and the Cosmos. So it's a full moon outside right now at night and in the daytime. And that was part of the inspiration for connecting this event to something bigger than myself, connecting this event to astrological things and cosmological things and energy that far exceeds my own personal energy. So my work is about tapping into that cosmic energy, tapping into that universal energy, and that's what I'm here to share today. So I got started with my talk a little late. I was trying to drag it out because I could get a little long-winded, so I wanted to give myself some time, and I don't want to talk your ears off, but the Most High has given me a platform to share some information, so I'd like to do that today. So just touching on a few things that are points of inspiration and elevation for myself, definitely the crystals, the natural minerals, the connection to not just Mother Earth, but all of the planets and the stars and the different multiverses that may exist out there beyond our finite human knowledge. This table over here, if you get an opportunity, I got it kind of set up late, but it's a table filled with minerals that I dug out of the earth myself, things that have been forming in Mother Earth for millions of years that I got the opportunity to commune with and tap into and bring to you to share. Actually, my children, who I brought with me, have been a part of that process because I'm a believer in that, and I appreciate that the Most High has allowed for me to include my family in this journey that I'm on, and in whatever way that they may be inspired and build in their own energy field within this work that I've been doing. So also on the table we have some quartz crystals, which is, some people call the grandfather crystal of many of the different minerals. And I'm a believer that all things have different lives that they live. Just like we're physical beings, but we're also spiritual beings. And we also have energy fields that surround our physical beings. And we have things that we can't see or that we can't touch, like antennas that are built into our human makeup that connect us with other things outside of ourselves, that connect us with other people, that connect us with our environment, that connect us with the environment outside of our environment, that connect us with the Most High. And this is a part of my belief system, you know, and I'm a believer that we all have a right to believe what we will. And I think that your belief system will tie directly into what you choose to will, what you choose to manifest. If you don't believe in yourself, then you can't will yourself to manifest certain things. So our belief system and what we believe is very important and very powerful. So on the table, there's quartz crystal. Personally, I use quartz to attract positive energy. I also use quartz as something of a transmitter to transmit positive energy, or I might even tell the quartz what I want it to do for me, you know, in the ways that I work. I also have on the table an element known as crystal cola. Crystal cola is a cousin of turquoise, also a cousin of malachite, and these elements are like copper ores. So if you take that element and pulverize it down and you heat it, you can actually turn it into a metal. So this is how copper is made. And this also kind of ties into the different elements of what people may call alchemy, you know, where you start with one thing and you're able to fashion it into something else, something more powerful, something stronger, something more beautiful, which to me is how we are connected with the crystals ourselves. Sometimes I use a crystal as a metaphor for myself or as for others. You know, you shine a light into it and it may give you many different brilliant lights that may, or different colors of lights that may come from it, like a prism. Or if you shine it in one direction, maybe you'll only get one light coming from that one direction. You know, so we have to be mindful of the lights that we allow to be shined into ourselves, all right? Because that is going to correlate to the light that comes out of you. And you got, you know, different types of light. You got dark light and you got light. So, you know, you have to be aware of these things. So these are just some of the minerals and the elements that are on the table. So when you get an opportunity to move around more, you can see some of the things that inspire me. Like I say, the quartz, I dug out with my own hands, me and my children in Hot Springs, Arkansas, which is actually the largest continuous deposit of quartz crystal, clear quartz crystal in the world. And as a part of the work that I do, we take tours down there. We take people on crystal mining trips. You know, I feel in my personal journey, I'm ancient, but I'm also futuristic. So we're made of ancient things. You know, we're all made of stardust. We're all made of elements that come from the universe, from faraway planets that help mold and fashion us into what we are. And if we look into our makeup, we'll find things that come from distant planets and distant realms that become part of who we are today, along with the other things, our domestic elements, as well as elements from another time and space. Stars that burst millions of years ago that help make us who we are, as well as help make these minerals that I'm speaking of. So also tied into that, a couple of other things that are on the table. I invited my father to come out, as well as my children to come out to be a part of this experience, because I'm a believer in the intergenerational energy, and the gifts that I've been blessed with are not mine alone, but they come through a bloodline, which I'm a part of. So I think it's important that my father, who has inspired me in his creative ways, or in the ways of him being him, he's a part of this experience, as well as my children, who are creative in their own way. So I got some of my son's artwork up there, as well as some of my father's artwork, to just tie that intergenerational energy together. So, the crystals. I mentioned that us in these physical bodies, we have different elements and different dimensions that we exist in. Almost like a fire. You have a fire, but a fire also produces smoke, and the smoke is part of the same element, but it's a different aspect of one thing. And even the fire itself is burning on something. You know, it is something that is the fuel for the fire. So these are, I would say, 3 different dimensions that exist on one realm. You know, you have wood, you have fire, you have smoke. It looks like it's different, but it's all one. It's all one process, just at different points of transformation, as we are. So tied into that, just like we have physical time and space, we have spiritual time and space, and we have energy fields that surround us. I'm a believer that everything has a spirit side. Animals have a spirit side. They have personalities. They're able to be individuals, as well as minerals. I'm a believer that minerals have a spirit side. And some ancient teachings, like when you get into sweat lodges and indigenous practices and things like that, they talk about the mineral people. You know, they talk about the stones that have spiritual elements that go along with them, and they are connected to the ancestry. So if you think about a mineral that's been forming for millions of years, and if it has a spirit side, or if it has a side that's different beyond what we know it to be, what type of information can be gained from that? So when I get into the work that I do with the crystals, you know, everybody's interaction with a crystal is their own interaction. You know, it is, they receive their own downloads. They receive their own information. So the work that I do is a byproduct of the downloads that I receive from the crystals, from Mother Nature, from the universe, and the connection that I make. And everybody is able to make their own connection. It's not mine, it's yours if you embody that. But bringing it back around to our belief system, you have to believe in order for you to will it into existence. So, quartz crystal is an integral part of our everyday life and has been for a long time. So on the spirit side of crystals, we all know about ideas and mythology behind like crystal balls and magic wands and all of these other things. You have people, they wear crystals, they feel this way about it, and things of that nature. Crystal balls are connected to vision, all right? Also, magic wands are connected to being able to send energy into something else, connected to a crystal, connected to a wand or some other type of natural element. So the facts that we know about crystal and quartz is that quartz is used in watches to keep time, and has been for many, many decades, if not 100 years or more. Quartz has been used for X-ray machines to help us within our technology to be able to see through other objects. Quartz has been used in radios, probably since the radio invention, for us to be able to send messages across long distances, shortwave radio, long-wave radio. Quartz has been used in lasers to project high-frequency heat beams into other objects and affect their molecular structure. So quartz and other types of minerals and crystals are ingrained in our everyday aspects of life. The phones we use, iPhones, you know, there are wars raging, you know, in different parts of Africa over minerals. And, you know, phones and technology and things like that, it's a luxury to many of us, but the minerals that is a real life necessity for the whole world, and what it takes to get some of these minerals, that's a different reality for other people, you know, in other parts of the world, and what it takes to extract these minerals. But not just to get, not to get too far off of the subject, you know, because it's a lot of social ramifications dealing with minerals and what it takes for us to gain them. But I just want to touch on the aspect that these crystals that's been forming in the earth for millions of years, they ancient, but they also the future. And that ties in with us, you know, and the elements that help make us who we are. So just as people program computers using crystals and copper to exchange information and get downloads, you know, I'm a believer that you're able to tap into the ancient ways of getting downloads by interacting with the minerals, by interacting with the crystals, by grounding yourself with Mother Nature and communicating on a telepathic level with nature. So that's kind of like what inspires and informs my work, and that's the first part of what I wanted to share. The next part, if I don't get too deep with it for you, all right, is let me get my screen back on. Mr. Isidore, do I need to turn this back on? I might have had it inactive for too long. This one, so what I'm gonna move into is some of the things that, some of the ideas and concepts that I use in my work. I like to use unks, which are ancient symbols of life and fertility, and some people call it the key of life. Thank you. I'm inspired by a lot of ancient information. I like to use the eye in my work. You know, some people call it the third eye. Some people call it the all-seeing eye. Some people call it a lot of different things. And symbols are about what we give power to. One symbol to one person don't necessarily mean the same thing to another person. But it goes back to what information do we program into what it is that we know. So one of the things that I'm very much into, or the concepts, is called the Eye of Aru. You know, the opposite eye might be called the Eye of Ra. A lot of people have a lot of different names for it. And what I deal with, I like to refer to Aru because that's the Kemetic understanding of the name. You may have heard of the Eye of Aru as the Eye of Horus, you know, or tied in with what we know as Egypt. So if I use these terms, I don't want to throw you off. What we've probably been taught in school is Egypt, but what is really known as Kemet. Kemet, the meaning the land of the blacks. All right, Egypt is a name that was given to it by Europeans. Heru is the Kemetic name of who they want to teach us is Horus. All right, so this is what's considered Egyptian mythology, but the idea of Heru is the falcon-headed deity, the son of Asa and Aset, or Osiris and Isis. Okay, Heru loses his left eye in a battle against Set, and Set is the deity of chaos. To avenge his father. The deity of chaos is actually the brother of Osiris. All right, his brother is Set. So basically, if you've heard of the story before in Egyptian mythology, the good brother is fighting against his own brother, who is the brother of chaos. All right, the bad brother wins at that moment. Okay, but the son of the good brother comes back and defeats the bad brother. Okay, so bringing it back to the understanding of Heru, Heru is who we know as a hero in our modern culture. And this is where the concept of a hero comes from. This is a family struggle that we're talking about. The brother, the father, the son, the mother is involved, all right? But we have to look at this mythology as the family is ourself, all right? And sometimes your higher self is at battle with your lower self. And it takes the Heru, or that hero within you, to check yourself, who could be your evil twin, or it could be your brother's, your father's bad brother, or it could be the spirit of chaos that rests within us all. And why is all of this tied into this I? Because it's all about know thyself. So when you look back to ancient Egypt, they got these eyes everywhere, and they got this saying, know thyself. It's important to know thyself. You got to know your strengths as well as your weaknesses. All right? You are your biggest enemy. And you have to understand that in order to see within yourself and without yourself to create a better tomorrow for yourself. So just passing through the rest of the mythology, the eye is restored. So Heru loses his eye to his brother's, to his father's brother, the deity of chaos. His eye is restored by who is called Tahuti. All right, Tahuti, also known as Thoth, also known as a character throughout history called Hermes. And in mysticism, Hermes is like the cornerstone of secret societies. But Hermes goes back to Tahuti, and Tahuti is the deity of thought and thinking. So just in your own notes, you may want to look up something called the Emerald Tablets. Tahuti is the author of the Emerald Tablets in ancient Egypt. So that's a whole bunch of mythology for us to look up in our own time. But it brings us back around to the symbolic meanings of this I that I like to use within my work. The symbolic meanings of the I are protection, healing, restoration, spiritual insight, associated with perception beyond the physical, but perception tied in with intuition, wisdom, and truth, not falsehood. All right? The third eye is also a symbol of what we call our pineal gland. All right? Some people call the pineal gland the black dot. You know, the pineal gland that stays deep within our brain, that's tied into our dream world. Some people feel it helps us tie into our spirit world. All right? But the thing about the dream world is some of the most powerful energy we can ever tap into is our ability to imagine. All right? Our imagination is where innovation comes from. Our imagination is where people create things that they can't see, that don't even exist, based off of their understanding of the world around them, based off of their intuition, their wisdom, and their truth. This is why imagination is so important. This is why children have their highest potential when they're at the age where they still can imagine things. Because when we tap into what we call our adult world, we forget our ability to be creative. We forget our ability to tap into that imaginative place in our brain where we can actually create, because we're stuck in the rat race. We're stuck in what the job requires. We're stuck in what our family needs and the necessities, and we don't have playtime for our brain. This is why I like art, because art is that place where I'm able to tap into my creativity and find playtime for my brain and see what I'm able to create based off of my intuition, my wisdom, and the truth that I accept. So in conclusion, the Eye of Heru is more than an iconic symbol. It's a spiritual emblem representing balance, awareness, and the internal struggle of triumph of divine order over chaos. Just a few more words on this. So I like to get into the deeper meaning of the eye, because all of the mythology is good. But when we get to talking about our third eye, what does that really mean? That is our sight beyond sight. You know how somebody who has lost their sight can still maneuver in the world. They can still imagine. They can still see. All right? But what is seeing? Seeing is awareness. Seeing is understanding what's around you and understanding the next moves that you need to make. And you have people who can see out of their physical eyes, but they don't have no situational awareness. They're not aware of what's happening. They're not aware of what's coming. So what is it that produces our true vision? What is it that produces what we call our third eye? Okay? So what the ancient Egyptians did is they broke down in fractions the power that each sense has over what is our perception. Our sense of smell is more keen than our vision. You can probably smell something, and I don't want nobody to be offended, but like breast milk as a child, you know, or something that resonates all the way back to your infancy. That's how powerful your sense of smell is. Your sense of smell is more accurate than your sense of sight. Your sense of smell can let you know when there's danger. You know, people can pull the wool over your eyes. You can't always believe what you can see, but your sense of smell is more keen than many of your other senses. Okay? So you know you have your sense of sight. Your sense of smell is, to the ancient Egyptians, is probably half of your perception, half of your understanding of your reality. Your sense of sight is only a quarter. What you actually think is almost as important as what you see. And the truth in that is that your brain can play tricks on you based off of how you've conditioned it to think. Because you can make yourself see what you want to see based off of what you've programmed your mind with. Your hearing.